we are getting a lot of questions from clients right now about what to do when unforeseen events affect your lead pipeline. So we brought together several key members of the MarketLauncher management team because we thought this would be the fastest and easiest way to put some information out there to help our clients and other companies really deal with the disruption that they're seeing right now in their sales pipelines. This is a way for you to get a last-minute lead generation strategy up and going quickly. So we're going to talk about, when you've got a lead source that is unexpectedly eliminated, you need to focus more energy on activity to fill that gap and refill your pipeline. So there are some elements that can be executed quickly within a proven framework that will keep your lead pipeline flowing more predictably despite those global interruptions. And the advantage to this approach is that it can be scaled quickly to temporarily fill a gap. So we're going to talk about the diamond approach. This is what we refer to at MarketLauncher as these 4 key areas that we know are critical to a successful prospecting and lead generation plan. And these are all areas that any organization can focus some energy and resources behind to really fill in that gap for their lead funnel. So we're going to talk about strategy, process, messaging, and reporting in each of those key areas. And I'm going to start by introducing the members of our team who are responsible for each of those key components. So we'll start with Michelle Hardy.
Hi, I'm Michelle Hardy, Manager of Client Services. I'm located in the Boston area. I am responsible for strategy, and I focus on the goals that we want to achieve with our clients.
And I'm Terry Lynn Anderson. I'm the Senior Sales Leader and Talent Manager, and I really lead our process efforts, and I really focus on what the market is telling us it wants and needs, and I'm based in Studio City, California.
Hi, my name is Ariel Rivera. I'm the Marketing Communications Manager here. I'm based in Austin, Texas, and I lead the messaging strategy. So one of the focuses there is our email campaigns for our clients and making sure that we are optimizing our message throughout a campaign.
Hi, and I'm Erin Studstill, Manager of Account Operations. I'm based outside the Atlanta area, and I focus really on reporting. So understanding what the data is telling us about market potential and how we can go from there.
Great. Thanks, guys. So you may not have 4 individuals in your organization that have the depth of knowledge and experience that these 4 women have. They're each going to talk about some key elements to the area that they focus on, and you may be able to take some tips and best practices away based on that. So we'll start with strategy. This is really when we start any engagement with a new client, we spend a lot of time setting up the program and really focusing on the overall strategy. And the 2 primary areas that we focus the most attention are building the audience and then focusing on a compelling message. So building the audience is about doing the research to really understand the full scope of your target market, investing in the sources that are necessary to build out that list of companies and the contacts that meet that client profile, and then investing in the outreach with the intent of verifying the right decision makers and influencers inside of those target companies so that your outreach is really focused on the right people. Now is the time to make those kinds of investments because you've got a lot of sales resources that may be idle right now, and here's a way that you can redirect that attention towards something that's going to build out an audience that has long-term return on investment potential for you. And then focusing on a compelling message. You really want to make sure when you're doing outreach that you find that hook that is going to give your prospects a compelling reason to want to talk to you. So think about whether you have thought leadership content that addresses a known or emerging roadblock in their industry, or is there a timely market change that's going to drive decisions for the foreseeable future? So under the realm of strategy, we've put together some questions that clients have been asking us in the recent days and actual real conversations that we've been having with clients. And so we thought there would be a benefit to sharing our responses. So starting with strategy, Michelle, I'm going to turn this over to you. This would be directed at you, but what are some of the best sources for building those contact lists? And are there any known triggers that can assist in identifying the best prospects?
Yeah, thanks, Laura. These are definitely questions that we hear regularly from clients, and especially as of late. Regarding list sources, because we partner with many clients in both technology and professional services, we have access to high-level subscriptions to many list sources that just aren't feasible to clients individually in many cases. Those list sources include Zoom Info and Discover.org, which are now the same, LinkedIn, Lead 411, and for those clients that have a specialized need, we have access to some niche providers that we can tap into as well. And I often say a list is a good starting place, but really calling into an organization and navigating through referrals to find the right decision makers is truly the best path to a success for lead generation. And then around triggers, we work with clients to identify triggers in strategy discussions to find either the right timing or right fit companies and contacts. So it could be things like a particular competitive solution that we can identify through some of our list sources on technologies. So a competitive solution that you can displace, or a technology that perhaps your solution integrates well with, or we can often use that intel too to eliminate prospects as not a good likely fit. We can also use intent or buyer signal data from inbound to target our outbound. So there's a couple examples that I wanted to share, particularly around clients. So, one trigger technology that we used with a healthcare technology client of ours is that they have technology that integrates well with Epic. And so we were able to find healthcare organizations that are currently using Epic. And then another client recently, we had a conversation around really the environment today with the coronavirus, and are shifting our focus to a product solution that they offer that helps financial institutions mitigate risk. So a very timely product offering.
So let's talk about process, and this is really, around execution and putting a systematic process in place. So 2 key things: prioritizing your efforts for greater productivity, and then doing the math to set the right goal. This is an area that we often see that sales teams really struggle with. So prioritizing your efforts for greater productivity, really looking at your lead pipeline and ranking those leads to prioritize the ones that would be due for re-engage. You may be very surprised to find, if you go back through the leads in your pipeline or sales opportunities that have gone dark in your pipeline, that there may be a significant number of them where it's been several months since you last engaged with them. And there may be things that have changed in their situation that now makes it more timely to reach back out and find out if this is a better time frame to reinitiate that sales process, or to find out what may have changed in their situation that would relegate them to a future target. So reaching back out and understanding kind of where they are in that pipeline, this is a good time to be doing that. And then you can automate some tasks in your CRM to keep you on track. So setting up email workflows so that you're not having to remember when to reach out to each specific individual, but rather have the workflow set up so that it automates part of that process for you, but allows you to drive what the triggers are going to be for when a specific email should go out, or when you should get a reminder for a callback. So setting a task so that it alerts you that, hey, it's been several days since you sent that last email and you haven't gotten a response. So setting a task so that you're reminded who in that pipeline is due for a callback. And then doing the math to set the right goal, really understanding how many conversations you want to have over the next 30, 60, 90 days, and then working backwards from there to understand how many touches you need to put out there each day to achieve that goal. This is math that we find a lot of companies and sales teams just don't think to do. You have to assume it's an average of 8 touches, a combination of a phone call and email for every contact that you want to reach. And you also have to assume that you'll engage with, on average, about 13% of the contacts that you reach out to, and about 7% have the potential to convert to a discovery meeting. Those are kind of some aggregate averages across MarketLauncher's programs, but it gives you a good benchmark to measure against, and that will tell you, based on how many conversations you want to have, how many calls do you need to be making every day to get to that point. So relative to process and execution, this question is for Terry Lynn. What do you do when you have sales meetings that you've invested a lot of time in getting set up? Your company has banned travel, or the companies you plan to visit are putting bans on receiving outside visitors. What do you do about that? And if you can't meet in person, where do you keep those relationships moving forward and filling your sales pipeline?
So in a case like this, I would recommend shifting to video conferencing and get on camera. Make sure you have good lighting so that we can actually see you. You still get that feel of an in-person meeting, but video conferencing obviously has more benefits over just an audio conference, but it also has benefits over in-person meetings as well. So it offers a fuller experience and allows you to still make those strong connections rather than just talking by phone. It allows for those visual cues that you would still have with an in-person, as that eye contact does enable you to still understand the meaning of the message from the speaker that voice communication alone may not convey. So it also allows you to stay on track. So over in-person meetings, there's no distractions or interruptions, so that's a benefit there. Video conferencing also allows group collaboration and document sharing, which does increase productivity. And then you can also still use slideshows, demos, and whiteboards to gain interest. The other recommendation I have is to set and send a written agenda. So it lets the meeting participants know that there's a real business purpose to the meeting. It still defines those key objectives, so it provides that structure. It's really a great tool for guiding the meeting, so it makes it more efficient. And it also maximizes time. It keeps people focused. It really ensures that the right people show up. So an example that comes to mind is an IT company that we work with. They send over an agenda before the meeting, and it really does create such value, and it's very, they're very clear about the objectives. So they actually will include bullet points, you know, like a capabilities overview. They'll review the prospect's current process, and then they'll share some best practices and recommendations, and then leave some time for Q&A.
Great, thanks, Traylon. So let's talk about messaging, and really the two key components here are making it relevant and then arming your team with strong communication tools. So in terms of relevance, you know, investing some time on research to identify the key initiatives at the companies that you're targeting, that allows you to then adapt your brand voice to those specific buyers and their needs. It allows you to be highly relevant. And then rather than focusing on the benefits of your offering, speak to the pain points and challenges and allow you to help them. What are the ways that you can help them do their job better? Because that's, you know, what's in it for them. That's really what you want to keep the messaging focused on. And then arming your team with those strong communication tools. You know, this is getting your team aligned on how to speak to decision makers and tell your brand story across the buyer's journey. And then preparing email sequences and templates in your CRM that can be personalized for audience segments and lifecycle stage, but allow you to keep the message really consistent. So the point there is that you want the message to be very precise to your brand. You want everyone telling the same story, but you also want them to be able to personalize it and make it highly relevant to the person that they're targeting specifically. So some questions around that, and these will be directed at Ariel. I know my prospects are overwhelmed by all the recent changes. How do I meet them where they are and address their challenges in a mindful way? I think that's a great question. And then how do I ensure my sales reps are aligned on the same message during their outreach? Can I make it easier for them?
Yeah, so for the first question, you know, going back to the first bullet point about research, we know that there are so many industries that are affected by the recent events. And so it's definitely something you want to include in your research and you want to speak to. You know, I think now more than ever, you need to be able to pivot quickly. And as an example of that, you know, we have some clients where their product offering is actually related to travel or hospitality. And so when we're reaching out to their buyers, we can't just ignore what's going on. You know, we recognize that bringing on a new tool or outsourcing a business function probably isn't the highest thing on their priority list right now. But we also know that a lot of them are stuck working from home and they have that extra time to either take a call or watch a demo or start planning for when things get back to normal. And so that really gives us the opportunity to research exactly how their company may be affected, and then also what they can start doing to plan for later. And then when it comes to the second question on aligning everyone on the same message, again, you know, in situations like this, it's really important that everyone is kind of telling the same story. And I would just do that directly by providing them with those direct talking points, calling scripts, and questions to ask so that everyone is communicating that message in the same way. And here at MarketLauncher, you know, we do this with the sales playbook, which we provide to either our sales team or our clients at the outset of a campaign. And that really serves as a comprehensive handbook that the sales team can always rely on and know that, you know, everyone is speaking the same language. And plus, when everyone is doing that, it also makes it easier to collaborate on what's working and what isn't, and how you can continue to improve your outreach as a team.
Great, thanks, Ariel. The final prong in our diamond is reporting. And so there are lots of elements to this, but using data to increase productivity, building market insights from every interaction, and then giving more visibility to stakeholders. Those are really the three key components here that you want to focus on. So data to increase productivity, you know, using things like productivity trackers, real-time dashboards, deal pipelines, analysis report templates. Those can all be used in tandem to identify where you're getting traction and where you might need to pivot. And then building market insights from every interaction. You know, this is something that we hear clients all the time. Salespeople are notoriously weak in capturing intel from every conversation that they have. They're so focused on getting it into the sales pipeline and really focusing the attention there on moving a deal toward closing, that they don't necessarily place as much emphasis on capturing that intel earlier in the sales process. But doing that by documenting those conversations in granular detail, and then noting when a lead has progressed from engagement to meeting and then to proposal to close, it's going to give you some additional insight that can really help you later in the sales process. And you can also look for patterns across verticals and the buyer life cycle to see if you're gaining traction in a particular area. You may be able to focus more attention and energy there. And then giving more visibility to stakeholders, you know, creating reports for individual visibility for the sales reps, but then also giving a bird's eye view for the leaders. That's going to keep everyone focused and accountable for their role in driving towards success. So a question that has come up, and this would be directed at Erin: how can I use real-time reporting to have the greatest impact? And if I want to make sure each of my salespeople are tracking the goal while we work from different locations, what's the best way for me to see this?
Yeah, thanks, Laura. So with real-time reporting, to have the greatest impact, I think most companies do a good job tracking once it hits the sales pipeline and tracking it through that opportunity process. Where I think real-time reporting can help is really backing that up in the lead funnel. So understanding how many leads, MQLs, SQLs you have, and how those flow into becoming opportunities in your sales pipeline. So we know from the earlier process slide that it takes so many touches to get you there. And so one thing that we've seen with clients is we use a lead status called current engaged, meaning that it's likely to hit the sales pipeline within the next 30 days. And it's a contact we've reached and we've had, you know, they have interest and we've had conversations with. And we've seen that when the sales pipeline's starting to dry up and we don't have those current engaged, that's really where we're seeing the disconnect. And so to be able to keep that sales pipeline filled, we have to have a certain number of current engaged each and every month. For your salespeople tracking, we use a couple different tools. We do use HubSpot, and we have a company-wide policy that everything, all calls are logged and all emails are tracked. And so that helps us really to see all the activity that's going on. And we set up dashboards within HubSpot to really be able to see what activity is being made, who the activity is being made to, and how those how that activity is pushing people through the lead funnel and into the sales pipeline. We also use DataBox, which is great. It integrates right with HubSpot, and it allows us to incorporate those goals. So however much activity our salespeople have, how many meetings and calls they need to make, they're able to track that and really see in real time where they're tracking with their monthly goals.
So just some bonus tips, some things that are going to be coming down the pike that you can keep an eye out for. Your selling environment has changed, but the level of engagement doesn't have to. So we've got more things coming that'll help you navigate this ever-changing world of B2B prospecting, with a focus right now on all things virtual. So virtual meetings, Ariel has recently introduced a new video series for MarketLauncher called 60 Seconds on Sales Enablement. And the next video that's going to come out will feature our head of business development, Diane Klein. She's going to offer some real world tips on how to run effective video sales meetings. Virtual proposals, this is something we're just beginning to test, some of the new document automation software tools. So right now the jury is out on who the leading contender is, but we're going to continue to investigate these different solutions, and we'll share what we learn and our recommendations in a future blog. And then just in general, working remotely and virtually, we know this is new for a lot of people. MarketLauncher has been doing this for 19 years. We've always been a remote environment since the very beginning. So we've been doing this since before there was video conferencing or team portals or instant messaging or even mass adoption of email. I actually can't fathom how we used to do that 19 years ago. But we've learned a lot, and we're happy to share all of that. So there's going to be probably future videos and blog posts specifically around how to run a really effective virtual office. So final thing is just wanted to leave you with, we are here to help. If any of this is overwhelming or you feel like you need additional energy or bandwidth behind your outreach sales efforts right now, we actually just introduced a new service offering recently, which allows companies that already have an in-house BDR team to take advantage of that diamond approach, all the things that we've just talked about today, and really applying it to your inside organization and to allow that team to be more successful. So if you're interested in learning any more about that, just go to our website, marketlauncher.com. You can drop us a note. You can also reach out to Diane Klein. You can find her email address right there on our website. Just go to her bio, and we are happy to share everything that we've learned and ways that we might be able to help. So thank you for watching, and everyone go wash your hands.
Thank you.